You're always complaining that you're broke. And yet whenever I come to your house, whenever I come to see you, there's always a new package. Like, what are you doing? And I remember just being like, oh yeah, but when I say that I'm broke, us ladies, how we do. We might not necessarily have zero or minus in our bank account, but we know that there's a threshold that we often say is when we're broke. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. If you are here for the very first time, hello, my name is Nisi T, content creator, speaker and entrepreneur, and I'm all about helping women reclaim their power and level up in every way. If you are returning, welcome back. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, we are talking about my unhealthy relationship with money and how it completely obliterated, I shouldn't even say how it destroyed, it completely obliterated my credit score and how I've managed to change that financial situation that I was in and finally be in a place where things are not like that, basically. I actually filmed this video already. I filmed it once before. I even wore the same jacket, okay? I filmed it. It was perfect. It was great. Lo and behold, I come now to edit it and I realized that there's some parts of this video that I deleted. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not making that mistake again. So here we are again. We're doing this again, take two. And this time we're not going to be losing any content, okay? But before I dive into this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. If you're not already subscribed, join the tribe, join the family, because we have loads of growing and developing to do together. So I wanted to start at the beginning a little bit because I wanted to explain to you guys how this unhealthy relationship with money started. Now, growing up, we didn't have a lot. That's just me being very straight to the point. We didn't. I'm super blessed because I grew up in a family and an environment where my parents gave me as much as they could. It was a household full of love. I was the firstborn child, so I was quite spoiled, initially when I was growing up. And then obviously when the siblings started to come through, sometimes I had a little bit of a struggle with sharing and stuff like that. But over the years, as more siblings started to come, I found it a lot easier for me to do things like share and learn that, okay, Nisi, it's not just you anymore. You're going to have to share. And now you're also helping to raise your other siblings as well. But we basically didn't have a lot. I mean, long story short, the older and older I got, so let's just say when I was about 14, 15, is when I really realized like, oh, okay, we don't really have a lot. I mean, I was a free school meals kid. We basically grew up on benefits. That's just the way that things were. And again, I say this to say that my parents really did their best, bearing in mind that I'm first generation Western born. They were both born in Congo, came over to the United Kingdom in search of a better life, and we ended up in Newham, one of the worst areas in the UK. And it was tough, it was tough. And the older I got, the more I started to recognize and realize that actually our financial situation wasn't great. So when I turned about 15 years old, I basically went and got a cash in hand job. I didn't even have my NI number. For anyone that's outside of the UK, NI is national insurance. That's basically the number that you were given, the code that you were given in order for you to be able to go out into the working world and officially work, as in on paper. I basically ended up doing a cash in hand job when I was 15 because I was that type of person. I was like, if I'm not going to be able to get things from my parents, I'm going to go out there and get it myself. And I wasn't about to go and start doing stupidity, selling drugs or whatever it is. I wasn't going to do any of that kind of stuff. Though there were people around me that did it, I just wasn't going to do it. I was going to go and do what I needed to do, which was get a job. Now, fast forward to when I got to about university. I hadn't been taught, and again, bless my parents, they tried the best that they could. I'm telling you right now, they did really, really try their best, but there was no form of financial literacy, financial education, or anything like that. It was literally me learning as I went along. So the older that I got, and finally, especially when I got to uni, I started to get a little bit of money through student loans, etc. I basically became very frivolous with my money. I would spend my money anyhow, as in money would come today, by next week I'd spent it. I was at university and I was buying clothes. Those days, the main things were ASOS and Misguided. PLT wasn't a thing then. Boohoo, I don't even think was a thing then. It was literally Misguided and ASOS, and I was the queen. I mean, it was so bad that I remember even when Ben used to come and visit me at uni on the weekends, because he was a year older academically, so he had already finished, would come and visit me at uni on the weekends, and he would always come and there was always a package. And I remember one time he asked me, he was like, Nissy, this doesn't make any sense. You're always complaining that you're broke, and yet whenever I come to your house, whenever I come to see you, there's always a new package. Like, what are you doing? And I remember just being like, oh yeah, but when I say that I'm broke, us ladies, how we do, we might not necessarily have zero or minus in our bank account, but we know that there's a threshold that we often say is when we're broke. But I would still go past that threshold a little bit to spend money on clothes and just unnecessary things that I just did not need while I was at university. So while I was at university, I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't really know how money worked. And what I went and did was I went to go and get myself one of those student credit cards. Yes. When you're at uni and every bank is trying to tell you, why don't you just get this bank card? You can get an overdraft on your account for up to whatever amount of money, and it's interest free, so you won't have to pay anything back. Yes, I succumbed to all of that. And I actually remember getting out a card with a bank, I'm not going to mention the name, but with a particular bank. And that is when everything kind of started to spiral out of control. Now, I wasn't one of those people that ended up in like 20,000, 30,000 pound debt. But as a student who wasn't used to seeing a lot of money, for me to get that card, and I had an overdraft limit of, I think, £1,800. That was a lot of money to me then. That to me was like, oh my gosh, Nissy, you're rich. But what you don't think about, especially when you grow up in the type of environment that I did, is that you don't think about the fact that you have to pay that money back. Like, I knew I wasn't a stupid kid. I was a bright young person. I was at Cambridge University, for goodness sake. So it wasn't like I was just ignorant, like, oh yeah, this money is mine. No, I knew that I would have to pay it back. And my initial thoughts were, anytime I spend a little bit, whenever I get a bit of money, I'll make sure that I put it back. Lo and behold, guys, that isn't what happened. I ended up spending more and more and more and more of that money until I literally spent the entire overdraft. I think it was, like I said, 1,800. And off of the back of that, long story short, because I don't necessarily want to go into the whole story, but long story short, that is the reason why my credit got messed up in the first place. Because I spent all of that money. Of course, I had to pay it back. And I remember coming out of uni, and instead of me prioritizing paying that money back, what did I go and do with my poor financial education? I decided that I was going to go and get myself a car. Yes. Living in London, I decided that I was going to go and get myself a car. By the way, I was working at the time. When I graduated, I was not working for about 6 weeks. But 6 weeks after that, I went to work, and I was working in the city. So why did I need a car? I don't really know. But something in my spirit told me go and get a car, which was such a dumb decision because I ended up quitting my job like maybe 4 or 5 months after even getting that car. And that was a whole thing. Like, I was so broke. I didn't have enough money to even fuel my car. It was just a mess. But I remember getting that vehicle, getting that car, and instead of me using the money that I was getting to, because I was helping towards paying the bills, etc., instead of me using it to help pay towards the bills and then pay off some of my debt, I instead was paying towards a car. Guys, honestly, such a dumb decision. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, guys. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if I was just really excited. I think I was just excited. And also because I knew as well that I wanted to have the freedom to get to places a lot easier. And nobody in my household had a car. So my mom didn't have a car. My siblings didn't have a car. They were younger than me. I wanted to have a car for ease of access. And to be fair, during the times of the pandemic, it actually helped me having the car. But if I could go back, I would conk me on the head and I would say, Nissy, right now is not the time for you to get a vehicle. You don't need one. It's not a necessity. You just don't need it, because once you get the car, you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to get the car and then I have to pay for fuel. No, it's the tax, it's the MOT, it's the servicing, it's the changing the tires, it's this thing is broken, you need to change the brake pads, you need to change this and change that. Having a car, honestly, guys, is a lot more responsibility than we may think. So that's something that I would definitely say to you. Think twice, okay, right now. If you are in a place right now where you're contemplating getting a car, please just think twice, take a break, take a beat, and maybe not necessarily get one. But I got a car, and so that debt was just there. It was just floating. And again, because it was interest free, I think I just began to ignore it, even though I was making this money and this income was coming in. Lo and behold, 11 months into me doing that job, a lot of you guys that know my journey and know my story will know that I decided to then quit my job. I have now quit my job. I've not paid back that loan that I had. I still have a car that I'm paying for. Some people would have called me insane. Looking back, I think I was absolutely crazy doing that. But I quit my job and I was like, well, somehow, somewhere, I'm going to make my way. Now, obviously, you guys know the story and you guys know that now I'm in a place where I'm super grateful that I made that decision. But at that time, what ended up happening was that things just began to spiral, because with that credit card or that card that I took out, you basically had to make a monthly minimum payment. I wasn't making those monthly minimum payments. So what began to happen, the bank is now chasing me. They said, hey, listen, you left university about a year ago and we're still seeing that you still owe us money. You need to start paying us. They started chasing me on the phone. It became a whole thing. I can't remember the ins and outs of everything now, but I just remember it becoming a whole thing. And all of a sudden, they basically sent me a letter to say that you need to pay everything in full. I think this was maybe even 2 years after I'd left university now. I don't know why. I just wasn't paying this thing back. But I was just ignoring it. Oh, it's interest free. Interest free is fine. I'll sort it out when I'm ready to sort it out. I'll make sure that I focus on everything else first that I need to make sure that I'm getting done. Such a dumb decision. But ultimately, I just remember getting this letter and they were like, you have to pay back the full amount now. They basically were no longer giving me the opportunity to be able to pay it in installments or pay it little by little. They were like, pay it now or your credit score is going to be affected. Of course, I did not have £1,800, or at the time it might have gone down to maybe 1,600 or 1,500. But I did not have that amount of money to just pay in full. I wasn't even making that amount of money every month with my salary at work. I obviously had just graduated. I was on a very low salary. I wasn't even making enough to even cover that. So what happened? My credit began to be affected. And that is ultimately where my credit score became affected, and it basically messed me up for a period, quite a while actually. Until eventually I started to make some shifts in my life in order for me to get to a place where I could finally start building up my credit again and to finally be in a better financial position. And that is exactly why I wanted to film this video today, because I know that money is something that, yes, we talk about a lot, but there are also people who genuinely are in a place that's like, listen, it all sounds well and good wanting to build wealth and wanting to create wealth, but I'm over here in thousands and thousands of pounds worth of debt. I don't even know how to get out of it, first and foremost. And not even only that, but it's affected my credit score. So I don't even know how to even manage that. So I really wanted to film something where we could actually talk about how I managed to pivot and to deal with that real negative and unhealthy relationship with money in order for me to be where I am, thankfully, today. So the very, very first thing that I had to do in order for me to kind of shift the way that I look at money, the relationship that I have with money, the way that I use money. I even remember one time, literally, thank God for my husband, because he was a big part, actually, a big key player as to why things shifted in my life with the way that I deal with money and I work with money, because he's always been better with money than me. Even when I was at uni and he had just finished, he was always big on like saving and making sure that he was managing his money. And I was terrible. I was, like I said before, frivolous spender, doing whatever I wanted to do with my money, spending it anyhow, doing whatever I wanted. And working with him and partnering with him basically in this area and being more open about money. And it's something that I'm going to talk about in a second, but being more open with money, has led me to a place where now I don't let money have that hold over me. So I say all of that to say the very, very first thing that I had to change was that I had to make a mindset shift. And I know this sounds so cliche and everybody says it, it's all in your mindset, yada, 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 but it's because it's the truth. If you are unable to shift your mindset around money and you allow your relationship with money to be focused on negative things, I promise you, you will not reach your financial goals. That is just a fact. I had to move away from a poverty and a lack mindset, which I had. I grew up, like I said before, in an environment where money wasn't really as accessible, though, bless my parents again, they tried their best. And growing up, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, we had to go and steal in order to eat or whatever it was. But that already put a dent in my mind that was like, this money thing, I never had enough of it. I don't have enough of it. I will never have enough. Like whenever I ask for money or whatever, at least especially when I started to get older, it was like I would ask for money and it was like, oh no, I don't have it, or I don't have enough, or you have to wait until next week or the week after, or maybe would never come. I had this really negative perception when it came to money, just negative connotations when it came to money, full stop. And I had to shift my mindset. I had to get to a place where I started to think like the person that I wanted to be. I had to start looking at money completely differently. So like I said, I came from a very negative, poverty mindset. So I had to shift to an abundant mindset. Again, words that I'm sure that you have heard before, but very, very key if you want to develop your relationship with money. I had to start thinking about money in a completely different way. So what was it that shifted for me? Rather than seeing money as this thing that controlled me, I started to see money as a tool, as a resource. Because I remember a time, and I'll take you guys back a little bit. I remember a time where I can genuinely admit that I loved money. Now, any of my Bible-loving Christians out here will know that in scripture it says, for the love of money. Not money is the root of all evil, but the love of money. What does that mean? It basically means that you love it so much that you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's why there are people who are literally willing to show their ass online if it's going to bring them more money. They're literally willing to do whatever it is that they deem to be necessary in order to make money. That's because you love money. That's because you love it more than you might love your faith. You might more than you love God or whatever it is, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't that person that was going to show my ass online, but there were definitely times where I was like, well, maybe there's some other ways to make some. I thought about it. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I didn't think about some of those boys that were on ends that were like, yo, if you don't just give me your card and let me do a quick. I definitely thought about it. Thank God I didn't actually go ahead with it, but it's because I loved money. And so even when I then started on my entrepreneurship journey, I remember that I went through a stripping season, like 2018 to like mid 2019, 2020 was such a huge stripping season for me. I just remember just not being able to make money. Like money would come in my hand and it would like disappear. I don't know where money would go. I just struggled for a very, very long time. And I came to recognize and realize that God had to do something in me. He had to remove my love of money. He had to strip me of that thing called money so that I didn't think that that is what got me to where I wanted to be, or that is what gave me capacity, ability, or strength. That I didn't basically rely on money as my source. I relied on the source as my source. And I just remember being stripped. Like no matter what I did, I just was not making money. Until I got to a point where I was just like, you know what, God, I surrender. I give up. I don't know what this is about, but I just give up. I give it all to you. Do whatever it is that you wish to do in this space in my life. And the moment that I did that, guys, everything began to shift and everything began to change, because now all of a sudden, rather than letting money control me, because I remember a time, guys, where literally if I didn't have money in my bank account, oh my god, I would have anxiety. I would be crying. I just remember having so much anxiety around money because I always felt like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do? Let me tell you something right now, guys. If that is the attitude that you have towards money, money will always run away from you. Money does not work well with people who are afraid of either gaining it or losing it. It doesn't work well. It just doesn't. But I'm telling you that the moment that you start to shift your mindset and you get to a place of thinking, of realizing that actually, no, money works for me. I don't work for money. Money works for me. These are some of the shifts that I had to start making. That actually, no, Nissy, money is just the cherry on top. You're always going to make money. The moment that I finally started speaking over myself, over my life, over my businesses, and started saying, no, Nissy, wealth is yours. Finances are yours. You will never strain. You will never lack. You will never work. These are some of the things that I say over myself. Even now, I'll speak over myself. I'm like, Nissy, you will never lack. You will never strain. Money comes easily to you. The moment that I started speaking these things, my mind is also shifting as well. Because some of you might be like, yeah, but I just don't believe it. Like my bank account is literally on minus. I just don't believe it. Start speaking it. Because what starts to happen when you start to open your mouth and start to declare things and start to say things is that your mind starts to shift according to what you're saying. So you might, what you're saying out of your mouth, you might not believe it initially, but the more and more you say it, the more your mind is registering what you're saying. And now your mind is starting to tell you what your mouth has already released. I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but I hope that's making sense to somebody. Like literally, you have to start speaking it. And that's when things started to shift. I'm telling you guys, when I took a mindset shift and I started looking at money as a resource, as a tool. I remember explaining on a webinar recently saying how I used to be like this with money. I used to be so uptight with money because, again, I came from a very, lack environment. I went into a space where I quit my job and then there was lack again. And so whenever a little bit of money would come in, I'll be like this. I didn't want to borrow people money. I don't want to give money. Like, I was so stingy. I'm sure that people that tried to borrow money from me around that period, I'm sure maybe my cousins and stuff will know that I was so freaking stingy. Now when it comes to money, if I have it, take it. Take it. More will come. That's how I see money now. And the crazy thing is, the more I'm like that, the more open-handed I am, the more opportunity I am to receive. You cannot receive with a closed fist. The sad thing, and again, I said this on a webinar recently, the thing about having closed fists is that, yes, you can't give, but you also can't receive. So when your hands are open, you're not only able to give out, but you're also able to receive what is to come to you. So that is the number one priority. You need to shift your mindset. You need to stop allowing money to have a hold of you. If you know that it's had a hold of you over a long time, it's time to start digging. Why do I have this relationship with money? Why is it that I think about money like this? Why is it that I'm always so anxious about money and around money? What is it that I can start saying to myself, start affirming myself in? How can I start looking at money differently in order for me to shift my mindset? Because I promise you, when you do, guys, everything will change. Now, guys, money is it's not object. I really do not worry about money anymore. Me and my husband will be talking. He even said to me the other day, I must have said something to him and I was like, oh baby, it only costs £50. And then he was like, Nissy, why are you talking about money? And he was joking because he was in his office with his colleague. And he's like, why are you always talking about money like it's nothing? And I said, baby, come on now. We don't worry about money. Money comes and goes. Like money comes to us like it's nothing. We don't worry about that. And I'm telling you guys, that's genuinely how it is. I don't worry about money anymore. I don't have that same level of anxiety. Of course, there are moments where it's like, oh, okay, maybe I need to cut back here. I'm spending a bit too much here. But money is not an object anymore. I don't stress and I don't worry about it anymore. I literally do not stress. I do not worry about it anymore because I recognize that money is a tool. I actually have a saying that I wrote down. As you guys know, I'm all about making sure that I have my notes now. So I'm giving you good information. But I wrote this down. I said, now I view money not as something to hold on to, but as something that flows. And I have a saying, it comes, it goes, it comes and it grows. So that's how I see money now. It comes and it goes. And that's okay. You will make money, you will spend money, you will make money, you will lose money. That's just the way the way the world works. And that's how business, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's how business works. But it also comes and it grows. Money can be multiplied. It's a seed. Money is multiplied and it grows. That's how I view money now. And I'm telling you right now, the moment that you start doing that, everything will change. Number 2. So like I mentioned to you before, a couple of weeks ago, I did a webinar, which was all about upgrading in life. And one of the things that I spoke about was financial upgrade, how you can upgrade and just start making more money essentially. And I actually shared my 3 Ds to financial upgrade. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'm going to go to the very, very first one, which is first D, deal. You have to be willing. If you want your financial situation to change, you have to be willing to deal with what is in front of you. And this was something that I was not able to do for a very, very long time. I avoided even talking about money because I was so embarrassed by the fact that I didn't have any. I did not like confronting my financial situation. I did not like looking at my bank accounts. Anything to do with money, I just ignored it because I just felt as though the more I ignore it, the less stress it's going to give me. I don't have to pay attention. But that actually is a complete lie, because what then starts to happen is that you start to essentially spiral. You spiral out of control. Why? Because you're not dealing with the facts. You're not facing the music. You're not looking at what is actually happening. So if you want to change your financial situation, you want to do better with your finances. And by the way, let me make something very clear. I am not a specialist. I am not the best of the best when it comes to financial management. I am still learning. I am still growing, but I am definitely not where I used to be. But one of the things that I've learned to do is to deal with what is in front of me. I no longer hide from money anymore. I no longer hide from my financial situation. Again, if you want to entrepreneur, you're in business, you will know that entrepreneurship has ebbs and flows. It has ups and downs. And before, if this was me before, like a few years ago, I would have just been ignoring, just pretending it's not happening. But now I sit down, I look at my finances. Okay, what's going on? Why are we in a bit of a dip right now? Okay, cool. I need to make more money here. Okay, cool. How can I change that? How can I get on it and get things done? Like, seriously, I had to be honest. I even remember one time I sat down with my previous accountant and we had to go through all of like my numbers and my figures and stuff. Even that would have given me so much anxiety before, but it's a must. It's necessary. But I remember going through all of my accounts and my finances, and I realized that I was spending like £500 one month. I spent £500 on Uber. What? And that was when I was able to look at it and say, okay, Nissy, this is a problem. We don't need to be doing Uber everywhere. Like, we really, really don't. So what do I need to do in order to cut back? And I made sure that I was cutting back and putting my money elsewhere. But if you are not even able to sit down and look at what's in front of you, you won't be able to pick out these things so you can make better choices. Because sometimes when you have your phone, especially now we've got contactless, you just beep everywhere. You don't even know what you're spending anymore. So sit down, look at what is actually happening and deal with what is in front of you. Only then are you then able to create a plan so that you can then move forward as well. Number 3, if you want to deal with that unhealthy relationship that you have with money, you need to cut out unnecessary expenses. Cut back on things that you just don't need. I know this one's a hard one, okay, especially sometimes for my ladies, because sometimes we be feeling like, no, but I need to get my hair done. I need to get my nails done. If you are just not in that place, you need to find alternatives. So, for example, with myself, something that actually worked really well for me was having wigs, right? Because once you invest in that one wig, I'm not gonna lie to you, you can bang it out for as long as you want. So you don't necessarily have to go to the hairdressers to get your hair done. You can have that one wig that you rock and that you wear, because you are sacrificing for you're sacrificing temporarily for long-term success and long-term gain. This is even something that even on my to-do list today, this is how you know I take finances, so the way that I behave towards my finances is so different. Because even just on my to-do list for today, I said that I need to do a financial audit and I need to look at things that I can cut back on, because I was recognizing that, listen, I have certain financial goals and there are certain things that I want to do, and I'm making life more difficult for myself. I thank God I'm in a place now where I can save. I'm in a place now where finance, like I said before, isn't an issue like that, but I'm not also going to be ignorant to the fact that I still need to make sure that I have good financial habits. So cut back. For example, myself, I barely buy clothes. There's probably videos where you see me in the same clothes, in the same top, in the same outfit multiple times. If you go on my Instagram, you will see that I bang out, especially if I like something. One thing about me, I'm not just that person that says if you think it's nice, you wear it twice, or whatever the saying is. I'm that person. If I think it's nice, I'm gonna wear it a million times. I'm gonna wear it as many times as I bloody want, because that's what's supposed to be done with clothes. You're supposed to rewear clothes, okay? But I barely buy clothes. But that is just because, again, you know, when I was in this place where I had a really unhealthy relationship with money, what did I do? I just wanted to spend, because I was like, oh my gosh, I've got this money, I need to go and spend it. No, I barely go shopping anymore. In fact, something else that I'm even doing now, I know that I want to change up my wardrobe. I feel like my style is changing. Myself, I'm just changing. You guys know, if you watched the video previously, you know, I'm stepping into my grown, sexy woman era, okay? I said it before, and I just feel like my style is changing. I feel like I need to upgrade my style again in order for me to match up with the person that I am and the person that I'm becoming. So I said to myself, Nissy, you're not going to buy any more clothes, not one item. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to buy any more clothes until you clear out your wardrobe and sell the clothes that you already have. Because why am I buying more clothes on top of some of the clothes? By the way, I have some clothes in my wardrobes, guys, that still have tags on, that I've not worn. That's just there. It's sitting there. Why? Nissy, you're going to go through your stuff and you're going to make sure that anything that is unwanted, you are going to sell it. And the money that you make from what you have sold is then what you're then going to use to reinvest in your wardrobe. Simple. Cut back, guys. Honestly speaking, if you want to change your financial situation, you have to learn to cut back. What is it that you don't need? What is it that you don't need to have right now? What is it that you can just say, do you know what? Rather than having a Starbucks or a Costa Coffee, shout out to Costa Coffee because I love Costa Coffee more than Starbucks, by the way. Rather than having a Costa Coffee or whatever it is every single day or even every other day, let me go down to maybe every week or every 2 weeks, or making my own coffee at home in order for me to save those coins. And those coins that I save, I'm going to put straight into my savings account. And believe it or not, those things start to add up. So just look at where you can cut back and make sure you make better decisions. Number 4, in terms of how I changed my situation when it came to my credit and started to rebuild my credit again and just my financial situation, was I got a credit card. Now, this might be an area that is very triggering for some people because, again, if you've been in debt before, credit cards can be quite scary. And as someone, again, who grew up in an environment where there wasn't much financial education, I'm not going to lie to you, I always saw credit as bad. Like, I was always told credit is bad, don't get a credit card, blah, 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 blah. But as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, you probably heard a lot of people talking about it now, but there is such thing as good credit and bad credit. And with a credit card, you can actually use it to build up your credit. Because one of the issues as well that a lot of people have is that they say, oh, but I haven't, got a credit card. I haven't spent any money. I don't owe anyone anything, but my credit is still bad. That's probably because you have no credit to show that you are a good person that banks and people can loan money to and will be able to pay back. So when you have no credit at all, that also affects your credit score. So having a credit card really helped me because it meant that I could start using my credit card. And again, because I'm changing my mindset, rather than it being like, oh my gosh, because this was also the mindset before. Oh my gosh, I can't get a credit card because what if I spend all of that money again and I get back into the situation I was before? Well, first and foremost, because my credit was actually bad, I couldn't actually get a lot of credit cards, which I think has been a blessing in disguise. I couldn't get a whole bunch of credit cards. I only got given one with a high interest rate, which is terrible, but it's been useful in some situations and circumstances. And I also don't have a massive credit limit. My credit limit on my credit card is £800, just because my credit score was so bad. That's how bad it was. Now I'm being sent messages and emails and letters saying, oh, you could actually be approved for other credit cards, because now obviously I'm building my credit back up again. So they're like, oh, actually, we can trust you to pay the money back. So let's do that. Let's sort that out for you. Let's give you a new credit card. But that's how they get you further and further into the hole. Don't let yourself get into the hole too deep. But definitely having a credit card absolutely helps. What I would suggest doing, and this is what I've done, again, I'm not a professional, but this is what I've done. I use my credit cards for situations where either I've eaten into, let's say, my complete budget for that month, because it does happen. It really, really does. I've eaten into my budget for that entire month. I'm not going to touch my savings, which, by the way, something that I've done, a little hack for anyone that struggles to save. I have a bank account that I do not have the online banking for. I have the card for, but I don't even know what the PIN for the card is. I don't know it. I don't want to know, because if I have too much ease of access, if money goes low in other areas, I'll just be like, oh, let me just, that dipping, or let me just move the money over. No. I don't have that at all. I literally have to physically go into the bank account if I want to take any money out of that account. So it becomes very difficult for me. So I literally just have this account where I just send money to every single month, and my savings are just building and building and building. So just a little hack for anyone that finds it really difficult to save. But when, for example, I have spent my budget and I know that, I need to do let's say food shopping, or I need to buy fuel or whatever it is, I will use my credit card because it's not a massive amount of money. And then I always make sure that either at the end of that month or a few days before the end of that month, I always make sure that I think the recommended is at least 2 weeks, or at least a week and a bit before the deadline. I don't know how to explain this. Again, I'm not a financial guru, but before the deadline of when you're supposed to repay that money into your account is when people recommend that you should make the payment. Because not only does it show that you are making the payments back, it also shows, oh my gosh, this person's also making it back early. So you are definitely trustworthy to have money lent to you. So, ultimately, that's what I have. I have a credit card now. My credit card is very, very high interest. But again, that's because I've had very limited options. But get yourself a credit card and be responsible with your spending. Now, if you know that you cannot be responsible, you can't help yourself, don't get a credit card. You're not ready. But if you get to a place where you're finally okay, I know that I need to build up my credit. I know that I'm, somewhat responsible. Get a credit card that gives you a low threshold in terms of how much you can spend, a low level of credit, and get one that has low interest rates as well, by the way. Otherwise, yeah, me over here paying bloody ridiculous interest rates. It's just ridiculous, but it is what it is. I didn't have a choice. But you that does have a choice, because you're going to do better financially than me, you are going to make sure you get a credit card with a low interest rate, and you're going to make sure you use it on, let's say, important or one-off kind of things. So like fuel, or I need to do some grocery shopping, but I'm going to pay the money straight back, or whatever it is. Not on huge purchases that you have no desire to pay back at all, because that's when you get into that hole that I spoke to you guys about earlier. And number 5, as to how you can change your relationship with money and change your financial situation, is plan on how you can not only make but also grow your money. This is very, very important, because whether we like it or not, people have already been saying it. We're in a recession, cost of living, yada, yada, yada. That doesn't apply to us, okay? We make it very, very clear. Around here, all of that stuff is for the outside world. We don't think like that. We don't get panicked and worried because the news is telling us that, oh my gosh, cost of living. No, we don't do that. We need to get that out. Remember, mindset, okay? So we know what the world is saying at the moment, but whether we like it or not, we cannot also ignore the fact that things are going up. Food is going up, fuel prices are going up, everything around us is going up. So whether we like it or not, we need to find ways to make more money, okay? And there are many ways that you can do that. You can get a side job, you can build a side hustle, you can start a business. There are loads of different ways. And actually, let me know if you guys want me to create a video, if you guys want me to film a video about that, about how you can generate more income and what I call diversifying your portfolio. Anyone that's been a part of the Powerclass program, or that is joining our latest group of the Powerclass program, will know that I talk about that all the time. Diversifying your portfolio so you can make money from different areas, right? If you guys want me to do a video about that, let me know and I'll do a separate video for you. But there are so many different ways in this day and age that you can actually multiply your income. You can make more money, because I'm so sorry, having one source of income just doesn't cut it anymore. We're in a time right now where you're going and your fuel is costing a ridiculous amount in itself, right? And we have a big car, so fuel is like beating us on the butt right now. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna sit there and cry about it? Oh my gosh, boo hoo hoo, fuel prices are high. Like, no, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make more money. And not only that, but we're also gonna make sure that more money that we're making, we're reinvesting that into other things, whether it be into our businesses, into our projects, into different things that we're doing, so that more money can make more money for us. That's how you grow, and that's how you multiply your income. So don't be afraid to invest in something separate from maybe your day job or your 9 to 5. You know, start a side hustle. You love, I don't know, eyelashes. Start selling those eyelashes. You never know where that could go. You could all of a sudden blow up and become the eyelash queen. You have an idea to start offering a service to people. You want to become a coach. You want to become a mentor, a speaker. Start up in those things. You know, if you join the Powerclass program, you will know how you can do that, because we teach you how to do those kind of things. Ultimately, you need to really think about how you can make more money. There's no time to sit there and cry about how bad things are and how there's no money and blah, 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 blah. It's not going to change your situation. You need to start thinking creatively. You need to start thinking outside of the box. You see that idea and that vision that you shut off a long time ago that you thought, oh, it would never work. Now is the time. Now is the time to take risks. You might as well, because things are going quite terribly bad out there anyway. So now is the time to take those risks and to make things happen. And trust me, guys, as someone who decided to take a risk on herself back in 2018, I can proudly and openly say that I am so glad that I took that risk and quit my job 11 months in. It honestly changed my life, and it was the best decision I ever made. So guys, that is it for today's video. I do apologize, it went a little bit longer than it was supposed to, but I hope that you found this information useful. If you did, make sure you leave a comment in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And also, before I forget, actually, please, I just want to make something very, very clear. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a qualified financial advisor. I'm literally just giving you advice based off of what I've learned and that has helped me and that's worked for me. So if you know that you still need to seek professional help when it comes to your finances, please do seek professional help. Find somebody, whether it be on the internet or go into a bank, to be able to get information from somebody who knows this stuff inside out. But again, seek professional help when necessary. Get the financial education that you need. There's YouTube videos, there's books now. We have no excuse for lacking financial education, you know? So I just wanted to make sure that I put that disclaimer out there as well, in case someone's like, but Nissy, I did this and I've not. Please, guys, I'm only giving you what I know based on what I've experienced as well. But other than that, again, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you leave a little comment below, and I'll see you guys again in my next video.